Hello and welcome to another episode of the Fourth and Five podcast. Penn State coming off a thumping of Indiana. I'm with Robby and Mo again, guys. How we doing?
Hey everybody, feeling pretty good, especially after that win last weekend. It was nice to just go out and dominate for once. Felt good that we were just the better football team. So I feel good moving forward. I like to finish the year strong, but feeling generally good.
Yeah, much of the same on this side. Like you said, it just feels good to go out and dominate a lesser opponent on the road. In years past, these games, especially coming off a loss, have been, trap games where we either lose or it's a dogfight the whole way through. I mean, we were talking to each other. The first 10 minutes, that's looked like that's what we were going to get. But, then Katron showed up and pretty much just ran all over him.
Yeah, the Katron game, we'll call this. He 86 yards on 18 carries, 3 tuds, 2 receptions for 72 yards. He had that long 45-yard reception where he just kind of like caught it on like a little on a swing and took it. He almost scored, but he scored the touchdown. Yeah, he was great.
He almost scored.
Yeah.
At the end of that
got
play, he's like, you know what? I'm just gonna run through you, and if I do, I do.
He's gonna get you the extra yards when he can. Like he's not gonna just try to make a move on you. He's gonna go through you, which I love about him. And I was gonna say I felt bad for him because on that first drive or that first touchdown, I think he ran us all the way down the field, and then they gave it to Nick, and he scored. And I was like, that happens often. Like Katron doesn't get the touchdown, and then he came back and scored 3 in a row. So I was like, oh, that's good for Katron. I like that.
I've seen a lot of sentiment of people worried that like one of them is going to transfer, but what you don't realize, it's stupid because running backs, especially in college and especially when they're this good, a committee is great for them because it's less mileage on them, which NFL teams love.
They're all
complimentary backs like this. It works out in their favor 1,000%.
Most colleges, if you do transfer, you're going to be competing, and it may be a running back by committee type of room, at the same time. And that's going to be what it's like in the NFL. You see teams around the NFL now, everybody has 2 backs that they go to. So it's something that they have to get used to. And like you said, it's good for them. And they get equal touches. I think Mike is very good at getting them their due touches. So I think, I think they should be happy regardless with whatever. With how they're playing and how they're being used.
Yeah, I agree. I think the way that they kind of utilize them, it does get kind of annoying when, like, you don't see Nick for the first quarter. Like, he doesn't really get a lot of first quarter touches, and then I think his first carry was that touchdown that he vultured from Katron. But then as the game goes on, he gets put in more and more and more. They're just 2 completely different backs. Like, Katron will run you over, and Nick's shifting, he'll beat you. I think Nick's faster, but Katron just mows people down. So I think this is something we'll have for next season and the season after, then they'll both go to the NFL. But I think it's huge that this is kind of how the offense needs to be run. We asked for the run. This is kind of how you had to beat Indiana, because if it was just going to be a Clifford game, it wouldn't have been a blowout like it was. But Katron and Nick were able to take over, and that's how you want games to happen.
Yeah, Katron's vision is unreal. He's super mature for a freshman. You can just see the way he runs. Like, he's very patient, waits for the holes, waits for it to come to him. But when Singleton figures it out, you can tell he's young. He's just very big play, like trying to be explosive. When he figures it out, watch out for this run game. Like, it is going to be electric. And I think I kind of like the way they're doing it now because, Katron's a bruiser. He's going to tire out the defense. And then you get this burner like Katron. You can get him outside. It's a touchdown.
Definitely. And aside from the running aspect to the running back position, I do think they're doing a great job at pass blocking. Like, I definitely feel comfortable with either one of them in the backfield when Sean's dropping back to pass. I feel like four freshmen, they're doing a relatively good job.
I think Katron's probably a little bit better at it because he's more physical.
That's
But-
probably starting not as well because they trust there. And, well, aside from his running abilities.
I mean, speaking of just freshmen, I mean, we had freshmen producing all over the field.
Mhm.
I mean, talk about the offensive line. It's almost a strength of this team now. I mean, you have, oh my God, why can't I think of his name? The Downingtown kid, first start, left tackle. Oh my God,
Ethan Gagekis.
Drew Shelton. Yeah, Drew
Shout out.
Shelton. First start, and he was great. And I know he was great because I didn't notice him.
Yeah, that's how you know
Mhm.
the
Yeah.
offensive line is playing well. Yep.
And then, I mean, you had JB Nelson, who looks good. You have Effner, who looks good. Vega Ione, as a freshman offensive lineman, looks good. What sucks is we're going to burn some red shirts because we are banged up. I mean, Olu's probably not going to play. Engwall's out for the year. Caden's banged up. So we're going to burn some red shirts, which sucks. But, you know,
But it's also nice to be able to get them experience heading into next year, so we're not tossing Drew out, behind those those redshirt
That's a good
freshmen.
point.
So it is nice in a way, but I see where you're coming from. It's kind of annoying to go ahead and burn those red shirts when we could have just waited until next year. But it's good to get them experience.
speaking of the offensive line, too, Hunter's coming back next year. That's big to have that veteran presence because we're probably going to lose Juice and Olu.
Is Olu 100% gone, or is there's still a chance he's coming back? Correct. His mom wanted him to return. I think we talked about that last week.
Family wants him to stay. But I don't know how you can turn down top 10 money.
Probably top 5.
Yeah. I'd love for him to stay, but there's no point to turn down top 5 money.
Look what happened to Rasheed Walker. He was this projected first rounder, came back, and then went in the 7th.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Wouldn't want that to happen to Olu, but selfishly, I would like to have him back for our Nick line.
Olu is 19 years old.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's absolutely insane.
Nuts.
I guess so. Now we can kind of move on to what, in my opinion, I know is the K-Tron game. The O-line, the makeshift O-line looked good, like we said. But I think the biggest storyline coming out of that Indiana game was how good Drew looked in that small sample size we got from him, and how Clifford kind of struggled in the first half. He threw that bad pick in the first quarter. Then he kind of settled into his own. He never had any touchdowns, but that one pass to Theo that Theo just dropped, it would have been a 30-yard touchdown. So you can't really fault Clifford for not throwing any touchdowns. But if you and Drew played when it was a blowout and the game was over, but he looked sharp.
He was playing with ones though. It was nice to see. He did get reps with the ones, and he did look sharp. Like he made all the right decisions, I thought. And then going back to Sean, it's just the same old story with me. He got bailed out several times. He got bailed out by Mitch twice in a row, I think. He got bailed out by Breton. That was kind of a nice throw, I guess. He threw it to the defender's back, but Breton made a great catch on that. And then there's just not many throws that I was like, oh, Sean, like great throw, great decision, great throw.
Rarely get that.
But then when Drew gets in there, he had that touchdown pass where he fit it in between 2 defenders. He could have ran that in 10 times out of 10, but he decided to, fit it in that window, and it was a perfect throw. I love that our quarterback can make that decision and can make that throw. It doesn't seem like, it's a second thought for him.
Speaking of that throw, all the Twitter nerds who are like, oh my God, run it in. Oh my God, run it in. Well, yeah, run it in.
Clifford, you're running that ball in.
The last 8 years, Trace can't make that throw either. The last 8 years, yeah, you're right. We haven't had a quarterback who can make that throw. But if you can make that throw, make the throw. Because you know what's going to happen? He's going to run it in. He's probably going to get clocked at the goal line.
Yeah. So Trace would have ran it in untouched. Clifford would have ran it in and gotten absolutely destroyed. And then Drew makes that throw. So, it's very exciting that we have a guy that can make throws. And I know I got in a fight with somebody on Twitter a couple weeks ago that he was saying how Aller was going to transfer. Shut up. Like, he's getting the key.
Where would he transfer? He would have a better
to the program
going into makes no sense.
This team is going to be much better next year.
You already see the hype on Twitter. People are like, buying into Penn State. They're like, this team's gonna go 10-2. They're gonna win their bowl game. They're gonna be 11-2 with a lot of talented freshmen who are only better. Like, people are buying the Penn State hype, and I mean, so am I, frankly.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're drinking the Kool-Aid.
Yeah, just drinking from the fire hose.
I will be fully on board the entire season next year. I don't care what happens, to be honest. I'm just
Yeah, I mean,
guys play
it's going to be one of the more, I guess, you could say it's going to be the most exciting season since 2017 going into it.
2017, where we topped out at being number 2 in the country.
Right.
Yeah. Then we lost Ohio State. But, yeah, it's going to be – because this team, people, they were 8.5 was the total. They're supposed to go 8-4, 9-3. They should go 10-2, barring this Maryland. I think the only test left is this Maryland game. But yeah. I think that game isn't really going to come down because you can wear Maryland down with running the football. I think that this game comes down to the defense, and the defense has looked really good. I know Indiana had 3 backup quarterbacks play. They ruined. They kept talking about how Jack Tuttle. Oh yeah, Jack Tuttle's in the portal. Jack Tuttle's in the portal. It's crazy that he's a captain and they love him, and he's in the portal. He's gonna leave this year. And then I forgot who it was, but they just broke his collarbone, and then they put in their 2 freshmen. But the defense looked really good. Indiana couldn't run the ball.
I was gonna touch on that. 6 sacks is good, obviously, but like when I was watching the game, I felt like we had at least 10. Like I felt like we were in the backfield, like at least one time per their possession. Like I felt really good about our defense and our defensive line specifically.
We were all over the field. Kalen King got his first interception. Good for him.
Sorsby, no business throwing that football.
No.
But
when I was like, pick.
But that wasn't an easy catch. I mean, Kalen elevated, caught it. I mean, he looked like a DB with really good ball skills.
Right.
The defense played great. Obviously, the only thing that's really bothered this defense is a mobile quarterback. We saw
was not a mobile quarterback, but he made it work. I mean,
he was stepping up in the pocket and he was converting third downs just on broken plays. So I think we need to do a little bit better job containing, because Taulia he can sling the rock, and 2, he can.
Yeah, if we do the same thing this weekend, I think we're going to have a lot more trouble, just because of how I would say, I guess Tuttle is a mobile quarterback. He's just not your typical dual threat. You know what I mean? Like, we weren't scared. We weren't preparing for him to run on us, but
he couldn't run the ball.
I would expect us to prepare for Taulia to run the ball on us, which is hopefully part of the game plan this week.
He doesn't run a lot, though.
Taulia?
Yeah, he's more of a pocket passer, and he's banged up. So
that's true.
I don't know how mobile he's going to be, because, look, Stroud doesn't run the ball. We go to Tuttle ran the ball, whatever. It's Jack Tuttle. Stroud doesn't run the ball, and then McCarthy runs the ball. McCarthy ran the ball not great again, but that Michigan game I don't think that's really – you can't really judge the defense on that game, because that was just a mess, because they were on the field the entire game.
They played 2 games in that game.
Literally.
Yeah, they did. It was insane. So let's look at Taulia. I don't think – I'm going to look at his stats. His last couple games have been fine. They was not good last week. 10 for 23 for 77 yards, touchdown, a pick. They got crushed by Wisconsin. And his rushing stats, I don't think he runs the ball a lot. He has this year 51 attempts for 96 yards. So let me go to the splits, because I'm sure he's getting sacked.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Yeah, he has to be getting.
He ran the ball 11 times last week. He gets sacked a decent amount. Against SMU, week 3. 13 for 51. But since then, not a lot of rushes.
Okay.
And that SMU defense also just let up 60-something points to Houston.
Yeah, that defense is not a good defense. They have a lot of talent on the outside receiver.
Mhm.
Maryland always has receivers. What's his face? The dude who tore his ACL last year.
Yeah, I was gonna say I forget his name, but they have one really big wide receiver. I think he's like 6'5", like 2 something. I don't know his name.
He tore his ACL last year against like Ohio State.
Jarrett, Dykes, and Copeland.
Mm.
Dykes is the tight end. Jarrett, I think it's Raheem Jarrett's the guy.
Okay.
They have how many receivers? They have they have 3 receivers over 300 yards right now, and 2 tight ends over 300 yards. So they like to air it out. They don't run the ball a lot. Yeah, Hemby's the running back. He's all right. I mean, he averages 6 yards a carry, but he's not like he's fine. Against Northwestern, 4 for 179, Indiana 17 for 107 last week, 16 for 66, but Wisconsin just shit all over them last week.
It's going to be another good test for our secondaries, basically.
100%,
But it's kind of it's a strength on strength there, but with Taulia banged up, I mean, drop 7, get home with 4. There's no reason you don't win this game by 2-3.
Put up 35 plus again. You know, we have been the past couple of weeks or a couple times this season been able to put up over 35. And I think that continues this week. I don't see Maryland holding us to under 35 points.
No, and I'd love to see at one point our entire D line be like just Maryland guys.
Yeah, they got to do that.
That'd be
all of them.
You think they shake our hands this year?
Probably.
Yeah, I would assume so.
Our hands, they beat us though, 20-19, I think.
Yeah.
So going back to, I'm still looking at the Wisconsin-Maryland game. Wisconsin ran all over them. Braylon Allen had 23 for 119 and a touchdown, and then Garendo had 12 for 114 and a touchdown. We had an 89-yard touchdown. So, I mean, we give Nick and Katron another 18 carries again. They should each have close to 100 yards and hopefully combine for 4 touchdowns again. Because it's just going to just run the ball. Like you found a formula that works. Just do it.
Yeah.
It's crazy that they're both going to be like our top touchdown scorers as freshmen because they both tied Noah Kane last week with 8.
Yeah.
And they're probably go over 1,000 yards too, which is just ridiculous.
For the first time ever.
Yeah.
The closest we've ever been was like 2011 with Zach Zwinak and Bill Belton. With like 1,100 and Belton had like 850. Zach Zwinak.
That's funny.
I feel like Zach Zwinak was more of a fullback anyway.
Yeah. That's wild.
Yeah.
Dude had 1,100 yards.
320 and Katron needs 440.
You've got 3 games.
3 games. They should keep feeding them the ball. Let them get it.
It's going to be close. Katron will probably – I don't know if Katron will – I mean, Katron would need like a 150, 160 game.
For this week, yeah.
This week, he needs like a just go off. But, I mean, none of that really matters as long as you're winning. Like, I don't think anyone on that team cares about records except for Sean Clifford. He has what is he? 20 more yards?
Well, is it that little? Wow.
Yeah, to be the leading passer.
That's infuriating to me.
Hey, you give me.
I know it doesn't really matter, but
I'll break that.
Dude, I hope he like I want Trace to be the leading passer.
Well, Clifford has how many more games? Probably a full season more, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Clifford,
and
Trace didn't play 5. Did he?
Yeah.
Well,
no.
In the
3.
4.
Yeah,
4.
Yeah.
Dude, that we've been living with Sean Clifford for the past 4 years at quarterback. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, because we had the Cotton Bowl win, the 2 shit years, and this year 4.
True.
Yeah, and then we're only gonna get Drew for 2. What a shame.
But that's like with really good quarterback talent, that's what you have to expect is 2 years.
I'd rather that than have a guy that's not good for 4.
So, oh my God, every time.
Yeah.
every time.
So, I mean, that's Indiana. Got into Maryland a little bit. What's been pretty prevalent on the Twitter world has been, where will Penn State end up in a bowl if they win out? I know I've brought up that we could make the Rose Bowl, which that's obviously a long shot because that would imply Michigan and Ohio State make the playoffs, which that puts us at, we're either going to get into the Cotton Bowl as an at-large or the Orange Bowl as an at-large. But LSU beating Alabama kind of hurts our chances of getting those at-large bids. And then I see all these idiots on Twitter who are like, oh, we'll go to the Sugar Bowl. Like, Penn State does not go to the Sugar Bowl. Like, bowls, New Year's Six bowls are aligned with conferences. Like, there's actually they're like, oh, we're gonna play Bama in the Sugar Bowl. Like, no, that's actually
no, we're not.
Can't happen.
Like, it's a small Google search that takes you to Wikipedia. You can figure out that just can't.
Which conferences are going to be in which bowl games.
Yeah, like, God, it's just infuriating. But I know you have some takes here, Dave. So
yeah, all right. So I got a couple. My first one that I was telling you is that I legitimately think that if you take Penn State out of the Big Ten and put them in the Pac-12, they win the Pac-12 pretty easily. Because it's Oregon, Utah, UCLA, USC, and I think Penn State, like, those are 4 good teams. Penn State beats all of them. The only one that I think that would be a good game, I think USC doesn't have a defense. UCLA's offense is fine. Their defense is just aggressive, not world breakers on defense. Utah kind of stinks, and then Oregon's the only one that would be a close-ish game that we might lose. But I mean, you put us in the Pac-12, we're probably 11-1. If you give us Oregon's schedule, we're also 11-1, and we're on the outside looking in. That's how I feel. And I think if you give us USC's schedule, we're 11-1. Like, you give us any of those schedules, we're 11-1. We just happen to play 2 and 3 because we're in the Big Ten. And then, so we're the Pac-12 champs in my mind. And then the other one that terrifies me about the New Year's Six Bowl and how I think this might just put us in the Citrus Bowl opposed to the New Year's Six Bowl is if Texas beats TCU this week, because they have TCU at 4, Texas will get a New Year's Six Bowl instead of us because they're Texas, even though they have 3 losses.
Like,
very annoying.
Over like yeah.
You already see what the committee thinks of Texas. They're 18. Granted, I think Texas is a good team. They just, like, Quinn got hurt, but I don't know.
It's because they only lost to Bama by 1. They count that Bama loss by 1 pretty much as a win. Like, it doesn't count.
Yeah.
It's very stupid. The committee is so ridiculous. Did you see what Boo Corrigan, the guy that runs it, said about why USC is ahead of UCLA, even though UCLA – so USC lost to Utah, who UCLA beat. So if you, like, kind of do the math and are a smart person, UCLA should be 1 ahead of USC. But you see what he said?
No.
No.
All right, I'll read you the quote. Let me find it.
Oregon guy. I mean, I feel bad for him that they make him go on live TV after it because, like, he just looks uncomfortable. But
yeah. All right, so ready? The question was concerning USC, and UCLA. USC is ranked 4 spots higher, but both teams have a similar strength of schedule. UCLA has 2 wins, and UCLA beat the team that beat USC. UCLA's losses to a higher ranked team. What gave into those factors? And this guy goes, I think the 1-point loss by USC at Utah, going for 2, the emotion of that game is something that the committee certainly has talked about. And the job that Caleb Williams has done with 28 touchdown passes, one of the top offenses in the country, putting up 41 points. So the reason why USC is 4 spots ahead of UCLA is because Caleb Williams threw for 28 touchdown passes.
And they are in their.
How does that make any sense?
So it's basically the Heisman race, is what you're telling me.
Essentially, yeah. It's just like Caleb Williams is a great player, but a quarterback throwing for 28 touchdowns, should not dictate the team's ranking.
No,
that makes no sense at all. I mean, the thing about the Pac-12 is it's all going to settle itself. They all still play each other, and they're going to cannibalize.
None of them are going to make it.
USC still has to play Notre Dame. They'll lose. USC will probably beat Utah. Utah will probably beat Oregon. And then they're all eliminated.
The only way that a Pac-12 team makes it is if USC or UCLA win out. Because they're not going to put Oregon in at 4 to play Georgia again. They'd have what would they do? I guess they put Oregon at 3 because Oregon, they're not going to have an Oregon-Georgia rematch. There's just no way.
The committee said
any Pac-12 team that they put up against them.
The committee said that they look at Tennessee's loss to Georgia and Oregon's loss to Georgia exactly the same.
That's so ridiculous. How? Oregon got absolutely stomped on a neutral field, and Tennessee got the crap beat out of them, but it was a 14-point loss on the road.
At Georgia.
14-point loss on the road where Georgia threw the ball 4 times in the second half and Tennessee scored a garbage time touchdown. It was 27 and Kirby just took his foot off the gas.
Yeah. Oregon lost 48-3 on a neutral site. 49-3, yeah.
Yeah, but how neutral is it if it's in Atlanta, bro? Come on. Atlanta's 45.
It's still, yeah. But it's not.
It's not.
It's not like you're going to Athens. It's still a little. I forgot it was in Atlanta, honestly, but it's a home game.
That's a home game.
Yeah, it's a home game. I forgot it was in Atlanta. I thought it was. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't think it was in Atlanta. But they got. And then now they have Bo Nix is going to win the Heisman.
I have a Heisman future like plus 5,000. So
Bo Nix.
Yeah.
They're saying that front runner is Stroud right now, but if you actually watch college football, Stroud should not win the Heisman.
It should be Drake May.
It should be Drake May. I love Drake May.
He's literally putting the best season. I mean, he's putting the best season out there by far. By far, in my opinion.
And he's definitely the reason where they're at. Unlike
he's leading the team in passing and rushing yards. I thought UNC could have gotten in the playoff had Clemson beat Notre Dame, but now UNC is kind of out of it because even if UNC wins the ACC, they'll end at like 8.
Well, no, listen. Notre Dame beat the top 2 teams in the ACC, and they lost to Marshall. The ACC is eliminated.
And Stanford. Yeah, the ACC's out.
The ACC is just out. Like, there's just not a path for them to get into the playoff period. It's just not there. I don't know. I mean, there's definitely opportunity, but I think it's looking more. I mean, there's still 3 weeks left, but I think it's looking more and more like Penn State's probably going to play in like the Citrus Bowl, which sucks.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be the Citrus Bowl, which is the New Year's Six Bowl. That's not a New Year's Six Bowl.
Yeah. I mean, we got gifted the Outback Bowl last year.
Yeah, we did. And we got our doors blown off by Arkansas, who stinks this year.
Arkansas is going to beat LSU this week.
Yeah, I could see it. I mean, I've talked to people about that where it's a real possibility. I just want to be in a New Year's Six Bowl. Like, put us in the Orange Bowl or something.
Orange Bowl will be.
I don't know, because the Rose Bowl is going to be Ohio State or Michigan, and then we just got to like sneak in the last one. So it's going to be the Citrus Bowl. We're going to play like Ole Miss or somebody in the Citrus Bowl.
Realistically, you have to get to 11 because you can't be 12 because 12 is going to go to the group of 5. So Tulane.
Yeah. Or
Cincinnati.
If Tulane falls apart, I think it'll be Coastal.
UCF. That's a big game this week.
That's true. I forgot UCF's ranked.
Yeah, it's UCF's like 22 and Tulane's like 16.
UCF stinks. I don't like UCF. I like Tulane though. Yeah. So I mean, when is it going to be a 12-team playoff?
2024.
24, yeah.
So is that That'd be Drew's last year with us, right?
Yeah.
All right, we'll finally get a playoff appearance, 2024.
Let's go.
Get ready.
I'm buying the Penn State hype for next year.
I mean, I will buy into it until we lose.
Yeah, I mean, I'm into
We're
it.
gonna be what 5-0, 4-0, and then we're gonna go into Columbus. We're gonna be like number 6, and we're gonna lose.
I'll be so hyped for that game, though.
I mean, literally, what was it? A month ago, we were talking about our path to the playoff. This year,
Every single year, we're 5-0. We're like, no, all we gotta do is win this game.
No,
Even if we lose,
and listen, Sean Clifford legacy game. Sean Clifford legacy game. You can rewrite the script.
and then he shit his pants. So that's his legacy, being a dork. But if we do beat Ohio State in that game, we're alive.
For sure. Oh my God, yeah.
Because all we would have actually, no, we wouldn't have got in because of the stupid ass Big Ten West tiebreaker. But oh well.
Well, Northwestern wins the Big Ten West.
They can still win the Big Ten. I forgot. I saw it on somewhere, but I forgot. They could still win it.
That's ridiculous.
They need like 2 teams to lose out.
This guy needs to. I mean, this guy, the guy who is all in for this Northwestern winning the Big Ten West needs to not get drunk at 2:00
And start going off
on Tuesday.
Yeah.
That's really funny.
It's not very good.
You guys want to roll into predictions now?
Yeah, I'm down.
Yeah, let's run it.
You want to go first?
So I guess I'll go first. This is kind of the spread's 10, right? Which I don't like. I wish it was more. Because that means if we're there, we're only what, a 4-point favorite about?
Yeah.
I don't know. 3:30. I think that they're gonna put up some points, but I just think we're gonna run all over them. So what we 45 last week? I think we win this game 35-20. That's my final score. I just think we run all over them. I think Katron and Nick both have 100 each. And I think they have 4 touchdowns combined again. And then I think we get a little Drew in the fourth quarter.
I like that. I would love to see Drew in this game. The earlier, the better, but I know that's doesn't always go along with the game plan.
Yeah.
So I think I also agree. I think they're going to score a couple of touchdowns on us. Maybe one late if we're up. If we're up by 2 scores or 3 scores at that point, maybe they'll punch one in late to just make it a better looking score on the scoreboard than what the game actually had to offer. But I think I'm going to roll. I'm going to go like 38. Go 38-20. 23. 38-23. That feels right to me. I think they're going to put
That's a good one.
more points than I would hope they would, but still not enough to make me feel uncomfortable.
I lean Maryland plus 10. I just think this is a classic. Like, we're gonna not overlook, but we're gonna come out a little slow. They're gonna take us into deep-ish water, and final score will be like, 35-27.
Fair.
Yeah, this is our last kind of test, I'd say, because we're going to beat Rutgers and then Michigan State. We're at Michigan State, or they're coming to us?
I think they come to us, don't they?
Yeah, so then that's not really a test in my mind. But this is kind of our last test. I think it'll be a good game. 3:30 on Fox. I like that it's a 3:30 game. I like the 3:30 games a lot better. But yeah, I don't know, because I could see. I just don't. I think Taulia's banged up still. If he 100% healthy, I'd be worried. But we're a better team. Our defense is a lot better than the last time we played them in 2020 when they blew the doors off us. Yeah, I think we win this game pretty comfortably. Not comfortably. It's going to be a sweat in the first quarter again, as they all are. But I think the run game gets going in the third quarter.
I think it'll be comfortable come the fourth, come near the end of the game. They might be like knocking on the door to make it a 10-point game or a 1-touchdown game, but I think that's where it ends. I think Mo's prediction was probably pretty accurate.
Yeah, it's going to be like 35, 20, 28.
Yeah, like 27.
It's going to be 30. It's going to be 35, 21, and they're going to score with like 2 minutes to go.
That was my.
It's going to be a backdoor for sure, but I definitely lean Maryland plus the 10 here. It just feels like too much for this.
Mm-hmm.
But
we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot that can happen, but we're definitely. I'm buying the hype. It's not just us. I mean, I'm seeing national media. I'm seeing like Michigan beat writers, Ohio State beat writers. Like everyone is saying, "Listen, this Penn State team is young, and there's a lot to look forward to." So we just keep that in mind.
Yeah,
I think that's a beautiful note to end it on. That we got a lot to look forward to. So thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. 4th and 5 podcast on YouTube, Twitter. We got to get the TikTok going. We'll get that going eventually, but it doesn't. We haven't been doing anything on that
here.
Yeah. Our TikTok page is going to be full of Drew Allard highlights next year.
Yeah, that's all it's gonna. We're gonna make like fan camps and stuff.
Yeah.
But like, subscribe, share with your friends. Let's get these listeners up. Thanks for listening and watching.
Maybe special guest next week.
Maybe. We're in talks.